just me and the world's best tasting vodka.
What's up, guys? This is your boy Byron Scott. This is another episode of Off the Dribble. My special guest today was 2004 Defensive Player of the Year, 2010 won the NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most beloved Lakers of all times. And I love this man. He played for me my last couple of years of coaching with the Los Angeles Lakers. One of my favorite guys of all time, Metta World Peace. What's up, Metta?
Hey, Coach
How you
B,
doing,
what's
brother?
going on?
Good to see you.
How's
Everything good?
Yeah, real good, man.
Well, we going to toast, like I always do when we have a guest. But today, guys, we toasting with a little coffee. It's a little early in the morning.
Yeah, man, it's good to be here, man.
Man, it's so good to see you. Everything going good?
Everything's good, man. I've been seeing you active online, man. like an influencer.
Well, Metta, you know me. You know me and the wife. We try to do what we can do and have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
So, we trying to just enjoy life. That's all we're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, Metta, I'm going to start way back. Your St. John days. And I know you from New York, and where they got all these ballers back in the day. Played your high school ball there, then you go to St. John's.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of viewers will know, and then there's some that might not know, that your name was Ron Artest back in the day.
Right.
When you got to St. John's, did you ever imagine getting to the next level, which is professional level, and having the type of impact that you had, especially on the defensive end?
Man, I mean, if I can go back to St. John's back in the time, I mean, I knew I wanted to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know if I would be like good.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's hard to figure that out.
Right.
But I knew like I wanted to compete. I knew that for a fact. But I didn't know what type of career it was going to be, honestly.
Right.
But I knew I could defend. And one of my goals was to back up Latrell and Houston. That was one of my goals, to go to New York. I knew I could back them up. I knew I could back them up. I could buy some minutes because I knew I wasn't that good also.
Right.
But I knew I could go to the Knicks, back up Latrell, back up Houston for a little bit. I was really confident in my defense, but I didn't know, like, offensively I would, kind of come around.
Right. It's funny that you say that, because I know people that are listening right now or watching are saying, wait a minute, he didn't think he was that good? He goes to the NBA and he didn't think he was that good. You were an all-star as well, in your NBA career. You win a championship. I mean, so you came a long way, in a short period of time. You're from that kid that didn't know if he was that good to that kid who ended up hitting big shots in the NBA Finals and winning championships. So from your, let's say, early childhood of understanding the game of basketball, what other sports did you play that kind of mold you into the player that you end up being?
Yeah, I mean, so I started out playing like tag.
Okay.
So you get all your friends.
Right.
Tag you it. Old school, running, tired.
Right.
A lot of tag.
Right.
And then I went to freeze tag. Then I started to play some games called like manhunt. Manhunt was like tag, but when they catch you, you get beat up.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so you get caught.
I never heard of manhunt, so that's a new one.
Manhunt's crazy. You play around. Meanwhile, we live in the biggest federal housing project in America. Mm-hmm. So we playing manhunt around the whole projects. You got two teams, and everybody scatters. And if two people find you, they get to beat you up. Right?
I mean, like, physically beat you up.
Yeah. Manhunt, right? So play a lot of manhunt, and then it went to like stickball.
Okay.
I was playing manhunt from like the age of 10 to like 12.
Uh-huh.
Then it went stickball, then baseball, because in New York there's a lot of stickball.
Right.
A lot of stickball, and then I played football one time. Well, I played flag football for a summer. I played tackle one time, and I just couldn't play tackle. I didn't like tackle.
Now, as big and strong and physical as you were back in those days, you didn't like football.
I did not like tackle football.
So you didn't like getting hit, or you didn't like hitting people?
I didn't
or
like
both?
getting hit. I didn't know how to avoid getting hit.
Right.
I was 13. I was playing, and I caught the ball. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I turn around, man. This guy just came, tackled me. And we had no equipment, by the way. We were playing tackle football with no equipment.
Yep.
In New York City. And I hurt my knee. And I said, I'm never playing this again.
Understand. So I'm going to jump up now, because you're playing with the Los Angeles Lakers. You're playing with a couple of people that we truly love, Kobe and Shaq back in the day. Oh, no, I take that back, because Shaq wasn't there.
Yeah, Shaq wasn't there.
You're playing with Kobe,
Powell,
and Pau Gasol, and Lamar Odom, and all those guys.
Yeah.
And in 2010, you guys win the championship. How was that feeling for you, knowing that you played a real big role in that team, hit some big shots, especially Game 7, hit the biggest shot in Game 7. And I remember the interview afterwards where you were on the post talking about Kobe passed me the ball. But how was that feeling for you to win a championship in LA in 2010?
It was RIP Kobe, man. It was a great feeling, man. It was a great feeling because it summed up my career. Mm-hmm. When I got to the league, I started working hard. I said, okay, like I knew I was a winner, but I didn't know I was going to be good offensively. So when things started to come around, I knew I could win, and I knew I wanted to win. Right. And then when my career kind of was stalling in Indiana days, when I was like getting in a lot of trouble, in my prime, and when I can win championships, I'm like, oh, maybe I won't get an opportunity again. Mm-hmm. 2010 come around, we win a title, and I was like, wow, it just capped off, the individual accolade with a team accolade.
Right.
Which I was always a team player. When I played with Elton Brand and Lamar Odom, we was in high school and nobody averaged 20.
Wow.
Elton averaged the most, which was 14. Lamar was the second most, which was like 13.8. Me and Eric Barkley was at like 12.8 in AAU. Because all we knew was play defense and pass the ball, and we know we could win like that. Then I won a title with the Lakers, and I was like, wow, it was such a great feeling because, I actually was a part of it.
Right.
And when it was with Kobe, and against the Celtics.
I was about to say, and against the Celtics.
My goodness, it was just like, somebody was looking after me and knew that through everything that I've been through.
Right.
Like, I really wanted that. And they put me on the biggest stage with the biggest rivalry in sports.
Right.
And I had a moment, and Kobe shared that moment, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kobe didn't have to share that moment.
Right.
People say I hit a shot, but it had to come from
you had to get somebody had to make the pass to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he not only made the pass when you made the shot. I mean, he was all over you after you made the shot. Showing you all that love and trust.
Yeah.
That you could make that shot. So I thought it was a great moment.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe. We had wars over the years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, he played very well, but in terms of like competing and not talking trash, but giving that bump. We was every game we played against each other, we was bumping.
Yeah.
Every game, and I really miss him. I really miss Kobe.
Yeah. I think everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody that watched basketball, everybody that loved the game of basketball. And I don't think there's a person on earth that didn't respect the way he played the game. So I think everybody truly misses him.
Yeah, I know, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back a little bit more because I want to get back into get back to the name Ron Artest, and then you change it to Metta World Peace, and then you change it back again to Metta Artest.
Yeah.
Tell me the reasoning why you went through the changes that you did with your name.
Well, when Chad Ochocinco changed his name from Chad Johnson Ochocinco, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And at that time, I'm like, in my prime. So when you playing in the league, you're a baller. You feel.
You still can do anything anyway,
you
right?
can do anything, right? At that point in time. So I'm like, I'm going to do that. I have nothing else to do but work out and go to Miami or something, right? So I want to do that. That's fun. So my first couple names was like, I wanted to change it to So Hood. I actually embroidered So Hood on my shirt.
Wait a minute. So Hood?
So Hood.
Okay. So Hood.
So Hood.
Like I'm from the hood. I'm so hood.
I'm So Hood.
I'm glad you didn't go with that one. So Hood.
Yeah, that was my first choice, and we actually made the hat, and I wore it to some red carpet thing in LA, and I was like, all right, cool, this is gonna be it. And then but every month, I was like getting more away from the names that I wanted, which is like ghetto, Queensbridge, like that type stuff, right? And as I kept evolving, getting more into meditation, I was already doing therapy, and I kept getting more removed from that.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to change my name.
Right. Okay.
And then you talk about 2 or 3 years later, as I got into meditation, and different things like that, it went from, I was totally into Buddhism at this time.
Okay.
And I knew I still want to change my name, so I was like, okay, I'm going to change it, and it got to be something that I really like. So I went through like 1,000 Buddhist names.
Okay.
And then we broke it down to like 100. And then we came up, it was Metta, they got Netta, it's like a bunch of different names like that in the Hindite language. And then we came with Metta. And we look at the meaning. I'm like, okay, this is amazing. So then we said, okay, now we need a last name. I'm like, oh, this is really hard. But then World Peace came like quick. It came quick. Maybe the first name. And I talked to my partner Heidi. I'm like, let's do this. The Metta World Peace. And then we just did it. It was like that simple. You know, it was that simple. We were looking at other things which didn't make sense. It just didn't sound right. Actually, we was also looking at 2 Buddhist names, her first and the last name.
Okay.
But when I looked at the last name, I'm like, I didn't really like how it sound. You know, even though I like the meaning. So that's how we.
Well, what is the meaning of Metta?
Metta means like the ultimate level of friendship, kindness. You know, the ultimate. It doesn't get any higher.
Oh, okay.
Right, and that name was so important to me because basketball is the center of my life, probably center of your life too.
Absolutely.
And you know, during my time, I wasn't as social. You know, like you look at a guy like LeBron James, right? He's like reaching out to everyone, just brotherhood, just like amazing. Even Magic is like that.
Right.
Yeah, Magic is like that.
Right.
And when I look at that, you know, I was taught something different. You know, I was taught don't make friends. Even my best friends, Elton Brand, Lamar Odom. During our career, I didn't talk to these guys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And these are my best friends to this day. They know how much I love them. Mm-hmm. But when we playing that game, me and Elton had fights in high school practice. We had fights on the layup line on the same team. On the same team.
Okay.
On the same team.
I'm trying to figure that one out, but okay.
Yeah, on the same team, right?
Okay.
That's how we were. And then me and Lamar, we threw punches at each other in practice, right? That's how competitive we were. And there was a bunch of other ones like this.
Right.
Bunch of other ones. Man, so when we got into the league, me and Elton was we got drafted together.
Right.
And Lamar went to the Clippers. All in the same year. We all the same age. Right? But then when me and Elton separated and I played against him with the Clippers, it was a competition.
Right.
And me and him was the same person, even though he's like really professional.
Right.
Right? Elton is a beast. Elton is a beast on that court. You know, and that's what I was taught. You know, when you playing against someone, just no
you're not
friends.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
sometimes it can get like, you can get beside yourself. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I got tired of like that type of personality, even though it helped me. But it was like a gift and a curse for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where Metta came in.
Okay.
You know, how can you change that? And then when I played for you, that was my greatest time.
Yeah.
You and I played for Coach Walton too.
Yeah.
In my last 2 years, that was the greatest time I had in the league because I was able to connect with my teammates.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that, I don't know if people are listening, but what you just said about Elton Brand and Lamar Odom, that was your high school team.
Yeah.
That was your high school team. You got 2 other NBA guys that did extremely well in the NBA.
Very well.
And that was your high school team. So, I mean, obviously in New York, y'all had a lot of talent. There's no doubt about that.
Me and Elton, Lamar, I don't know. Lamar was probably the most talented. We was all different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was always like I was grinding all the time. I was in the backcourt picking up in high school, just taking the ball from whoever had the ball, right? Me and Eric Barkley, we had the front lines.
Uh-huh.
Elton's in the back, right? And so Lamar was also bringing the ball up on offense.
Right.
He's about 6'11",
Right.
like our point guard.
Right.
And then Elton was always scoring the most, you know. And then Lamar went away, but Lamar got a title in New York his sophomore year. He had 36 points in a championship game against a really tough team. And then Lamar won MVP, but then Lamar left. So then my senior year, me and Elton shared New York City Player of the Year.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay.
And we shared the New York City Player of the Year. And then in 5-star basketball camp, we shared Player of the Camp.
Oh, wow.
Me and Elton was always like this.
Y'all was connected.
For sure.
That's crazy.
And then he went number 1. I'm like, damn, he went number 1.
Well, he had a pretty good career at Duke. You know,
He had a great career at Duke.
The guy was just, like you said, very professional.
Very professional.
Came to work every single day, did his job.
He was like that since he was 13.
Wow.
Always been professional. Always. And I was just like, and he was so poor. Elton used to come. We was at 5-star basketball camp one time. First time I met Elton. Elton had a hole in his shoe. You could see all 3 toes. Right? Literally, you could see all 3 toes.
So the hole is at the top or on the side? On the side,
bottom.
Huh? Yeah, okay. Bottom side, so to speak.
Yeah. And I'm looking at his toes, and I'm just like, and I got 2 toes picked out of my shoes.
So
right?
both y'all was poor.
Both of us was poor. Right? So, and I had 2 pair of sneakers, but they both had holes. And I said, yo, you need some shoes? I was going to give him my holy shoes.
Wow.
And he said, no, I'm good.
And he played like that.
He played in them shoes,
And
man, with
probably
the toe
balled
touching
out
the floor.
and was balling out.
Was killing.
Okay, we got to talk about something that's funny. That's some funny shit right there. But anyway, we got to talk about something that's a black eye.
Yeah.
You know, and we all know about this. The Malice and the Malice at the Palace. You were playing for Indiana. You guys had a really good basketball team against Detroit. The Pistons, who had a really good basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the East had probably some of the best basketball players. And I mean, I thought the East and the West was so equal at that particular time, in that era.
Yeah.
And then the West jumped way up here. The East was way down. Now the East is kind of catching back up. But there was an incident in the Palace where you and Ben Wallace, Hall of Famer, unbelievable defensive player, great rebounder, got into it, where he shoved you, and then, benches kind of cleared, no punches was thrown. You go and you lay on the score table. A fan throws something at you, it hits you, can of beer or something, whatever it was, and you lose it. And you run right up in the stands, and all hell breaks loose. Tell us about that time and how that kind of changed you, or how did you react to looking back at it now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Looking back at it
looking
now.
back at it.
What do you think about that now after it was all said and done?
Well, I mean, there's so many different things at that time. It was a basketball, individual, legacy. It was team, accolades, brands, deals, everything. Personal emotions, right? So there was so many things that was affected. At that time, from a basketball standpoint, I just won Defensive Player of the Year. So that was going to be probably another one. Then Ben wins it again. And at that time, you had all these great defenders from Kobe, RP, our brother Kobe, Tim, Garnett. But the only ones they were talking about was me and Ben winning Defensive Player of the Year. Right. And then you had some other great defenders who wasn't as good offensively, but like Bruce Bowen. He was also in the mix for that because he was a great defender. So, Ben wins it the year I led the league in flagrants and suspensions, flagrants and techs. So then he wins it that year. I thought that was one of the reasons I didn't win it. Then the next year I win it. So that's 1-1, right? 1-1. So now we coming back. I'm like, okay, I'm going to win it this year. And meanwhile, I finished 6th in MVP voting. Jermaine was 2nd. Kevin Garnett got it. Then I was number 6, averaging 18 points. So I come back averaging more. So this is a year where I'm thinking this is going to be a first team All NBA, not a third team, and all this stuff. So that was on my mind. I worked so hard that summer. I was working with Larry Bird every day and Chuck Person every day. So right then and there at that point, I'm like, when the brawl happened, I asked Steve Jackson. I said, "Yo, do you think we really gonna get in trouble for this?"
I remember hearing him say that on Up in Smoke podcast with him and
All
Matt
the Smoke.
Barnes, where he said that when that broke out, you in the locker room and you asked him that question.
Yeah. Because I'm not used to getting in trouble for somebody hitting me,
Right.
I'm used to somebody being like, "Hey, he hit you? Oh, good job." You hit him back. Yeah. And I was thinking about all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I worked so hard for this moment. So then that happened. Then the championship. Now, meanwhile, the year before that, like I was telling you earlier, tied up, Game 6, Detroit, Indiana, to go to the finals. Detroit beat the Lakers in the finals, right? But we was the best team in the league at that point in time. We had 61 wins. And then I elbowed Richard Hamilton in the face, even though he elbowed me in my nuts. And the ref didn't see it. And it's
Always
on tape.
catch the second guy. Always catch the second
It's
guy.
on tape,
Right.
But then I'm like, all right, boom, I elbow him in the face. And they call a tech on me, 2 free throws. They score, they go up 4. There's about 2 minutes left, and they win by 4 to go to the finals and win. So now we back the next year. I'm like, okay, you cannot be making these mistakes. I got a quick trigger, right? So I'm like, you need to chill.
Right.
So when the brawl happens, like, I go on the scorers table. I'm like, just chill, no matter what, at all costs. So I wasn't really prepared for anything because my teammates knew I had a quick trigger.
Right. Of course.
It did not matter. Ben Wallace or nobody. I jumped on Shaq's back before. Like, I'm not worried about Ben Wallace. Shaq could have choked me out.
Right.
I'm not worried about Ben Wallace.
Right.
But in that time, I'm like, I just can't get in no more trouble.
Right.
I already lost maybe $500,000 in suspensions and texts and all this already.
Right.
So then when that happened, Then the next day, actually, every deal I had was gone. The next day, so I'm like, I had my own shoe, LA Gear. I had 2 TNT commercials, 1 ESPN commercial. I had a couple of my other own brands. Carl's Jr.'s deal about to happen. And I remember the next day, like, gone.
Lost all of it.
Then they take the whole check.
Yeah.
Was not ready for that.
Yeah.
Right? Boom, that's gone. Right? So I'm saying, you know what? So I'm like, okay, just let me play. Keep the money. I just want to play. I just want to win the title. I worked so hard.
Right.
I care more about my stats and winning the title than the money.
Right.
At this point.
Right.
So I asked my agent, can you please like tell them to keep the money? I don't even like that's a big punishment. Like I don't need to get double punishment. Let me play, please. And I remember getting a call from MJ. MJ was the only one that called me. MJ called me and was like, and it's the second time MJ called me. I don't got a relationship with MJ. But he was like, hey, keep your head up. Keep your head up. He said, I think you might have a shot to get back. He said, just keep your head up. Now, meanwhile, previous summers, me and MJ used to have wars in the gym.
Right.
That people never saw.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, obviously that meant he respected you so much, for MJ to call you.
Yeah, he's the only one.
That's love.
Yeah, and not to say, but he did call, and he was idolized like as a kid.
Yeah.
Right? I idolized MJ, but I remember that time. So I thought I had a chance to get back. MJ's like he spoke to Stern, But what happened was the next day I started promoting my R&B album. It wasn't a rap album. It was an R&B album that I produced because they took my check.
Right.
I had this album coming out on November 23rd. I got suspended on November 19th.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, they said they're not paying me. So I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So I really got to promote this album, right? So
I got to make some money now.
Yeah, what you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? This is my first year signing my contract.
Right.
So I go on NBC and I'm promoting my album. Like, yo, and then Matt Lauer, well, I don't know if it's his fault, but NBC said, hey, we want to bring you on and, talk about what you want to talk about. I said, okay, I'm not coming on the show to talk about the brawl because I'm in trouble right now. I need to sell this album, though.
Right.
I get on the show. And he started badmouthing me, talking about, man, this was a black eye, man. I'm like, you don't even know what happened. Like, look at the tape.
Right.
I didn't start this.
Right.
So I'm arguing with this guy, and I'm promoting the album, now I look crazy on television.
So in other words, they lied to you, basically.
Yeah, these guys tell me.
Normally they're gonna talk to you about what they're gonna ask you and talk about on the show. And they basically kind of turned it the other way and started talking about the Malice at the Palace.
But then that was cool, but he had such an attitude.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, okay. I'm your guest on your show. So no matter what I did, I'm on your show. Well, you can't be mad at me.
Right.
You got to make me feel comfortable.
Right.
Right? So it was real awkward.
Right.
And then I was supposed to do Oprah, but then, I didn't do that show because I was just like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Right. So I just... I said, I'm not going to go on that. And then I didn't get a chance to come back that season, and then, it was like so many different things and family and kids is seeing it, so what happened. I just had to eat it.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, just take this on the chin and move on.
Yeah. So when they suspended you for the rest of the season, took your money, now you can't play and they took your check.
And they took the check.
Now you got to wait till next year to play again. And we talked about this earlier. You said there was a period in time in your career where it was about 4 years that you thought just were really bad years for you.
Yeah.
Not playing wise, just things that had happened, things that occurred. Action wise, like even the Malice. When you got a chance probably to look at it on tape and you saw when you ran up there, you went after the wrong guy.
No, I actually didn't. I'll tell you why.
You really think you got the guy that threw it?
Yeah, because not a lot of people don't get this story because not everybody's looking at the Malice in the Palace or paying attention every day. So what happened was the guy that when I got hit on that score tape, I was literally facing this way. I was laying down. When I got hit from this direction, I seen a guy go like this, right? So when I got hit, immediately I was pissed.
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
like, what the hell?
Right.
So when I look at the guy like this, I'm like, oh, you hit me.
Okay.
So that was the guy I attacked. Now that wasn't the guy that hit me. That wasn't the guy that threw it.
Right.
But that was the guy that made the bet. So he bet John Green
$50.
that
he couldn't hit you.
he couldn't hit me.
Okay, gotcha.
So when he hit me, even though he lost the bet, he was like, "Oh, you did it." Right?
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
you did it. So I attacked the right guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I was running, I got up there so quick. I remember his face changing. Like, ew.
He was like this. Oh shit, he's coming at me.
And he should actually talk on media one day and talk about that because everybody else talked except him.
Oh, okay,
everybody
good.
else talked except him. So
See,
he need to come out that shell he hiding.
Right. No, you know what? That's good. See, now y'all know who, when Metta went up there to attack the guy, everybody used to say, man, he went after the wrong guy. He got the right guy because that's the guy that made the bet.
The only way I found that out is because I'm cool with John Green, the guy
Right.
through the bear.
Right.
That's the only way I found out.
So he got the right guy. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to be back with more with my man Metta World Peace here on Off the Dribble. Black Widow is a conglomerate of attorneys and investigators that are community-based. They started from a personal traumatic loss that turned into a platform for human dignity and rights. Black Widow always finds ways to eradicate the wrongs and produce positive results beyond all boundaries, and they always pay it forward. Black Widow can handle any and all legal matters, including motorcycle injuries, car accidents, trips and falls, criminal matters, family law, workers' compensation, and restraining orders, and more. In all industries where money rules and basics give rights are overcome by greed, we strive to make it about humanity by repeatedly educating and informing the masses of their rights. If you have ever felt frustrated or anger that you have been done wrong, that's the fire that fuels Black Widow. When you are done listening to all the rest, call Black Widow for the blunt truth. Call 818-599-3613. Again, that's 818-599-3613. Or you can find us on Instagram at BlackWidow_investigations. All right, guys, welcome back. We're here again with Off the Dribble with your boy Byron Scott. We're going to go right back to my man Metta World Peace. And when we left for break, we were talking about the Malice in the Palace where, the guy threw the beer at Metta. And I thought all these years that Metta attacked the wrong guy, but Metta was just setting the record straight. And we talked about John Green making a bet with Metta, and Metta got to know John and respected him for being honest with him.
Yeah.
So go back to that again, Metta, and just talk a little bit more on the bet and how that occurred and how you got the right guy, not the wrong guy.
So what happened was so when I got suspended, I was training every day, trying to come back. That didn't happen. So then that summer, I kind of went into a depression period for maybe 3-4 months. I come back the next year, I was a little overweight. I was averaging 20, but still a little overweight. Then I get suspended from Indiana for about 3 months, detrimental to the team. Mm-hmm. So then I get up to about 273 pounds. Meanwhile, I'm playing at 248. Wow. So they trade me to sack. I get the sack, I'm 273. And I told Coach Adelman, Rick Adelman, when I get the sack, I said, Coach, I really appreciate you giving me a shot. I said, but if you could bring me off the bench, maybe not even play me, I said, if we could work something out like that, that'd be great. Because my mind's not in it right now.
Right.
I just want to I kind of want to sneak out the league, like, you know?
You
I just want to go quietly with no issues, right? That's what Coach Adelman told me. Coach Adelman said, we going to go as far as you take us, Ron. I said, Coach, I don't got it. Like, I'm 273 pounds. What am I going to give you? He said, I don't know what to tell you. We're going to go as far as you take us. Now, meanwhile, we're in the last place in the West. So then the next day I go home. I'm like, oh, wow, this guy really believes in me. So I go back in the media day. Next day I say, we're going to the playoffs. Media start laughing. We go to the playoffs. Right? I get back in shape. We go to the playoffs. We like best in the West in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And I made first team all defense. Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah? I made first team all defense. And then so then we do that. So then I was still a little depressed, and then about 3 years later, I was just going through it. I didn't want to be seen with from nobody. I said, let me reach out to these people that I had issues with. So I reached out to John Green on Twitter. I was like, if anybody could tell me who this guy is and find his number, I'll take you to lunch. It was a picture of John Green, the guy who threw the bed.
Right.
So then, initially I had his name, but then I deleted that tweet because I didn't want nobody to think I was trying to fight the guy who threw the bed.
Right.
But I did want to find this guy.
Right.
So I put his picture up. I threw out a little tweet that everybody missed it. One fan hit me back. That's John Green. Here's his number. Wow. Sent me his number. I call. His wife picks up. I'm saying this is Ron Artest. She's like, get the F out of here. This ain't Ron Artest. This ain't Ron Artest. I said, yeah. And I told her why I want to call. I said, hey, I would love to speak to your husband because I think we can make a big difference, in the community, in the world. We've been through something. We had a difference. We could like hash it out. So I'm explaining to her why I'm calling. And then she says, hey, John, Ron's on the phone. He said, okay. And he says, Ron who? I'm going to hear him in the background. Ron Artest, she says. He says, hey, Ron, what's up? That's what his first reaction. Hey, like he know me.
Like y'all been buddies, right.
And so I was thrown off at this point. And I said, yeah, I wanted to call you because, things happen and stuff, whatever. Hash it out. He said, I apologize to you, by the way. That was my fault. That's what he said. And at that point, that's when I respected him, even though he's a little shit crazy.
Right.
And I was like, and that's like myself, probably. Right? So I'm like, I respect that. And then he told me the whole story. Said, hey, by the way, that wasn't your fault. We made a bet. I was with my buddy at the game. We made a bet. We was just drunk and we were just having a good time. He just bet that I couldn't hit you a bear, Which is kind of crazy, right?
Wow.
Right?
That is crazy.
But I laughed about it. I said, man, that's crazy. I'm like, that's something that is funny to me.
Right.
It's funny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, y'all crazy, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Bet you can't hit him with your beer from about 50 feet while he's laying on the scores table. All right, bet $50. I mean, that's basically what they did.
Bet $50. Exactly what they did. I thought it was funny, but obviously I was like, I appreciate that because I didn't even know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you thought, just like we did, all these years, you went after the wrong. Well, you knew, but everybody else out there, fan-wise, thought that you went after the wrong guy. It was the guy that was next to him who threw it, but now we find out the true story. Yeah, you went after the right guy because he made the bet and he threw it, but you made the bet. So you basically started it.
It wasn't the guy who threw the cup. It was the other guy who really started it.
That's crazy.
It was the other guy who really started it. So, and that's life. I look at that as life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens.
Well, I want to talk about something that, a lot of people don't know about you is that you've always been a very giving person, And while you were in Sacramento, and we talked about this earlier, Rick Adelman, to me, is still the most underrated coach in NBA history. This guy, everywhere he went, he won. My first job was with Sacramento, and Rick Adelman was the coach who hired me as his assistant coach. Players loved playing for Rick. He was just a very low-key guy, but he gave everybody confidence, that he coached. He was just an unbelievable guy. Your years in Sacramento, there came a time where there was two people, and you were willing to give your check to if they would keep them, Bonzi Wells and Rick Adelman. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So I get the sack. Last place. I still want to win a title.
Right.
That's the only thing on my mind is win a championship.
Right.
So we get there. We in last place. We go to the playoffs. We play against the Spurs. So at that point, when I got there, the offense was pretty much going through me. Mm-hmm. We had Mike Bibby, who was he was our leader, our point guard. We had Brad Miller, hell of a player.
Yep.
We also had Sharif Abdul-Rahim. He was hurt, but hell of a player. Hell of a player. And we had Bonzi Wells and a young Kevin Martin. So by that time, I took my team to the playoffs. I've been there. So Rick kind of put the offense around me. So in the playoffs, literally in the locker room, I say, Bonzi, we going to you. Right? And Bonzi is an amazing teammate.
Bonzi was a great person.
Bonzi, and he very talented.
Yes.
Right? Very talented. So I'm like, Bonzi, we going through you. And Bonzi's like, nah, we going through you. I said, Bonzi, we going through you. Anyway, Bonzi puts up 26-12 in the playoffs. 26-12. We almost beat the Spurs. They won the title that year. Right? I played pretty good too. And, meanwhile, I twist my ankle in game 6. And game was basically like tied. I twist my ankle, come out the game, second half, I couldn't come out. I tried, we lose that game. We go home. So I'm like, bring this team back. In my mind, I'm thinking we coming back.
Right. I got you. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we was 26-15 when I got there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, let's bring this. So then Rick Adelman gets fired. I hear in the media, Then I hear Bonzi Wells. I'm like, hold on, no, but like, let me know something. I'm like,
Right.
But I'm not like a franchise. I'm not like LeBron or a franchise player, so I don't know anything.
Right.
So I'm just hearing in the news. I'm like, what are we gonna do? So I said, you take my salary. Like, I got an easy lifestyle anyway. I don't even need the $6 million. Like I don't have a Bentley. I don't have jewelry. Like, give it to them.
You don't need all that to live the way you were living. Basically,
I'm
right?
a very basic guy.
Right.
So I'm like, what can we do here? And literally, Rick Adams fired. Bonzi Wells don't come back. So we come back the next year. I mean, we win 35 games, but we never went to the playoffs again.
Yeah.
And I was in Sacramento for 3 years. I just thought that team had something. We for sure had something.
Yeah, something special.
And me and Bonzi couldn't be stopped on the wing. I was playing the 2 at 260.
Right. And Bonzi was playing the small forward position, basically.
Big.
Bonzi was good size now.
He was 230.
Yeah.
But big. Bonzi was a.
But he was more of a post-up type, mid-range, face-up.
Yeah.
I mean, Bonzi he just get buckets.
Buckets.
Just gets buckets. I remember him because he came to New Orleans when I was coaching. And I was telling Cody when we were here earlier that one of my favorite guys, just put it on the line for you, go out there and score. And we lost to Denver in the playoffs. And Bonzi was with me. And every year after the season, you have the end of the season meetings. You have the exit meetings.
I got a funny one for you.
And you got to tell me that.
Yeah.
And Bonzi comes to me, and I told Bonzi, I said, first of all, I love Bonzi.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a coach's dream. He's going to do whatever he can. He's not going to complain, nothing like that. He's just one of those guys that you love being around. And he came in and he was like, Coach, we lost the playoffs because of me. I didn't play well. I played like shit. And I was like, wow, And I respected that so much from him. And he went and told the media the same thing. I played like shit. If I would have played better, we had a chance to win. And, I just loved that part about him, that he was so honest. And he was one of those guys that you can go to and say, Bonzi, I need you to do this, do this, do this. And if you're not doing it, he'll be the first one to say, man, take me out because I'm playing like crap. So exit meetings were always fun for me, because then I got a chance to tell players or talk to players about either coming back or not coming back.
Yeah.
Or what they did or what they got to work on, things of that nature. And you got an exit meeting that you want to share with us, and I want to hear this one.
I got a funny one. So it was my last year. When Luke Walton was there, my last year in the league. Meanwhile, I still want to play. I still want to go another year or two. So my last game, I kind of knew it was my last game, my last year. Mm-hmm. So I had a big game in Staples Center. My last game at Staples, I had 18 in the second half. Then we go to Golden State. I'm like, I'm going to get in the game. I'm going to play well. But I didn't even play that much. I don't know why Coach didn't play me. My last game of my career, I played 5 minutes. But that's another story. So then exit meeting like the next day.
Right.
So I'm like, if this is the last game of my career, I'm going to have a great time. So I'm with Nick, D'Angelo Russell, my Jordan Clarkson, Julius Randle, Larry Nance, all the guys.
All the young fellas.
All the young fellas, right? We on the plane. So I'm like, okay, I got alcohol. I got a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to enjoy my last plane ride, honestly.
Right.
It's my last plane ride. So, and the guys is with it, too. So, I was drinking, I went to my boy spot in San Fran, smoked a little herb, right? A little of that before it was legal, right? So, so I get back to LA. I party so hard. Meanwhile, I got an exit meeting the next morning with Luke, Magic, and who was the GM? Was Mitch the GM at that time still?
I don't know if it was Mitch or Rob. Rob Pelinka.
Maybe it was Rob.
Maybe it was Rob.
Maybe it was Rob.
Because I think when Magic them came in, they fired Luke.
It was Rob.
And then fired Mitch.
Oh, right. It was Rob.
I think it was Rob, yeah.
It was Rob. So
you don't even remember. See, you.
Yeah. So I'm in this exit meeting like this. And meanwhile, Magic is there. I'm just like, my eyes is not close. I'm like, ain't no way they bringing you back to the next year. Magic is like, you know what? You had a great time, and we're probably not going to bring you back next year. I was twisted in that exit meeting. But I had I enjoyed my last day.
But you had a great exit night before or whatever, right?
Man, I had a great time. It was just amazing. Reflecting, looking back,
right.
Young guys, the future of the league. And that was like a party to me.
Right, right.
I just enjoyed it all night. I was just like reflecting, went out to the club, kind of reflected a little bit. It was great. It was funny though.
But I want to get into something that's a little serious. It's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but more NBA players are starting to come out front and talk about the mental health issues. We stated earlier in this episode that for 4 years, you told me this earlier. 4 years were probably the 4 toughest years in your NBA career, and you've stated this and you've talked about this pretty openly about the mental health. So talk to us a little bit about mental health issues.
Yeah, man. I think it's mental health is psychological, or it could be psychology or psychiatry.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 different aspects of mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Mental illness could be if you're really affected from a psychiatry standpoint, meaning an MD needs to help you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be prescribed medication,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have a mental illness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Which has a negative tone to it.
Yeah.
Mental health could be, are you mentally healthy? Mental health is important, just being happy, or not being sad, right? So, there's many different aspects to mental health.
Right.
And then you have, the depression side, anxiety side.
Right.
Really has nothing to do with medication. It has to do with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then, I think if you don't handle these issues, I think it piles on. That's what happened. Some people will try to mask their, emotions or depression with alcohol, with marijuana, with addiction, sex addiction, drug addiction, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And in professional sports, you're around anything you want.
Right.
Everything's right. So with me, I started to try to mask my depression and anxiety with alcohol early in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I thought alcohol helps you get away from things, right? So you're going through something, go out, have something to drink, just keep drinking, and things is cool.
Yeah, things
That's what I
disappear.
thought.
Yeah, the problems that you
disappears.
have will kind of go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case.
Right.
And when I look back at it, even years ago when I started to look back at it, when I stopped drinking at a point in time in the league, I was like, wow, I really made things worse by just continuing to drink. I used to have gallons of Hennessy. Every 2 days we finished a gallon of Hennessy.
Wow.
And then in our apartment, we used to keep all the gallons and look at their trophies actually.
Right.
So we would keep
So all you drunk, you would keep the bottles.
all the bottles. Keep all the bottles. Right? It was so many gallons of Hennessy. Right? It was pretty cool, sort of. But and I think when I look at my career, I'm like, not only was I going through something small, honestly, it was minor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at it, it was things that could have been fixed.
Right.
But with all that alcohol, everything was exploding. Like, you go to practice, you're just cranky. You partying all night, you're not getting no sleep.
Mm-hmm.
On top of being drunk.
Mm-hmm.
On top of still having alcohol in your system.
Mm-hmm.
So now now you're getting in trouble on top of trouble. Now you got other issues coming at you. So now you're like, oh wow, I'm in a world of trouble that I can't get out. Now you in your head. Now you got an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Now you got a serious issue because, so with that being said, in sports, I was one of them that had these issues. And how do you support someone like that? How do you be there for an athlete? I think in terms of athlete, but anybody, human in general.
Right.
I think in terms of how are you there for an athlete? How do you prevent certain things? And it's very common in sports. I've played with people that was going through things. They didn't show it how I showed it.
Right.
Because I'm always I'm very expressive, and I like to. I tell if I'm feeling a certain way, you're gonna know how I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I just tell everybody how I'm feeling.
Right.
I just tell everybody how I'm feeling. But some people would hide it.
Yeah.
I played with teammates that was not drinking, going through it.
So for a fact, and I do too. Like we said, we've had Kevin Love, who's come out and talked about mental issues. We've had DeRosa, who's come out and talked about mental issues. In your mind, is there a lot more NBA players out there that just hasn't come forward?
Yeah, I think a lot of NBA players go through it. For one, the divorce rate in the NBA is high.
Yeah.
Right. So just that alone, it's something's like it's something that's happening. Even with the emotions, right. Then you talk about all the opportunities that we get as athletes. You go out to the club, you get all these other opportunities, and then things you never experienced because you probably grew up poor.
Yeah.
Now you can do more.
Now
things.
you got money.
Now you got money.
Yeah.
And that could be it's not always a positive thing, as we know. It's not always a positive thing, So yeah, I'm sure a lot of guys is going through it, And how are they going to find their way? Very rarely do you get, someone like LeBron. I always mention LeBron, but I'm just so proud of him because, he, such a superstar, and he's still with his wife.
Yeah, since high school.
Since high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, that's really impressive. That's more impressive than anything.
That's super impressive, and it's super rare. And
Right.
Like you said, the one thing I want to make a comment on is, like you said earlier, you have all this money, you have all this opportunity, and ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about from an athlete standpoint, all these opportunities, you're talking about women, drugs, alcohol, anything business-wise. You have so many different, and some of them are negative, some of them are positive. When you talk about all these opportunities that open up to us, and you're talking about a league that is primarily dominated by African Americans who grew up with nothing. So when they get all these opportunities, a lot of them don't know how to handle it. And like you said, LeBron is a perfect example of somebody who's handled it extremely well, who has pretty much paved the way for the next generation to take his, his example, the movie industry, what he's done with endorsements, what he, building a school, all the positive things that he's done in the community. And, that's another way of really kind of bridging that gap. And it's something that we don't do, or we haven't done enough of. And it's another thing that we haven't done enough of is talk about the mental issues of being an athlete, not just basketball, football and baseball as well. In professional sports, and that's something that we have to do a better job of.
Yeah.
Metta, the other thing I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to go back a little bit because I'm going to go back to the Malice and the Palace, is as great as your career was, because you played how many years in the NBA?
I was 17.
17 years in the NBA. Defensive player of the year, won a championship. And for the most part, people like me that know you, and people that are real basketball fans who know you know that you had a very successful NBA career. You got the one black eye, with the Malice, and you said that 4-year stint, that you just wasn't yourself, and the alcohol and all that stuff was a part of that. How do you figure that's going to be as far as your legacy? Is that something that bothers you? Is that something that you think you've kind of recovered from? Just tell me, how do you feel
I'm
about
not too
that?
concerned with the legacy, because the legacy was gone a long time ago in terms of the potential.
Mm-hmm.
We had the opportunity to do a lot of great things and maybe be at Indiana for my career. That could have happened.
Yeah, right.
But I'm thinking right now my career is over, so I'm thinking how am I going to get into this Hall of Fame?
Right.
And that's something I always wanted. There's many things I always wanted, even though I didn't get them all. But some I got.
Right.
So it's certain, and I'm super competitive. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pitch this. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I got Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So that's very rare.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people got Defensive Player of the Year. Not everyone's in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
That's
true.
But I got a championship.
That's
okay.
true.
I got 113 All-NBA All-Star. I got the Citizenship Award. So how many Citizenship Award winners in the Hall of Fame? So I got to piece this together because, I'm gonna need a yes or a no, and not from I got some people through the media that was like, man, Metta's not going to the Hall of Fame. I'm like, listen, even if you got to vote, I'm not listening to you right now. You know what I'm saying? We trying to figure this pitch out, and I got to figure out who I'm gonna pitch it to.
Right. No,
but that would be something that I really hope happens. It's going to be slim, but I don't even care about the brawl.
Right.
I don't care how people think about me.
Right.
I'm not trying to make new friends,
right.
even with whoever's picking the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I don't care about making a friend with somebody picking the Hall of Fame. What I care about is the awards that I got, the work that I put in. Does that merit going into that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I got a couple accolades that I think, I can make an argument.
That at least gives you a shot.
At least give you a shot.
Yeah.
At least give you a shot. At least give you a shot. I think with the 2 first-team All-Defense, 2 second-team All-Defense, 1 third-team All-NBA, All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, it's a champion. You got a shot. You got a shot. You got a shot. You got a shot.
You got a shot. Well,
we'll see.
I mean, the last thing I'm gonna ask you is, Just tell the people right now, what are some of the things that you're doing, some of the things that you're proud of? I know you're real big in the community. You used to have the shirt with the panda on there and everything. And ever since I've known you and seen you at the gym where we working out at Equinox and all that stuff, you've always been big into giving back. So just give us a brief summary on some of the things that you're doing right now.
I mean, from a philanthropic standpoint, I have Artest University, which is not a university, it's just a 501c3. And our mission is to teach children how to become good partners and good parents. We feel like that's at the foundation of where mental illness starts to occur. When you don't have that good family structure, you start going through it with your partner and you're not raising your children. And then the children's not being raised and it's just a cycle. Right. So we try to just bring awareness to that through basketball. So that's Artest University, artestuniversity.org. If anybody wants to donate,
there you go.
That'd be great. And then, working on some business with Artest Management Group. So I've been really happy with that because, throughout my career, I don't think like I had a customized, management that was like suits me. So I just said, I'll just build a management company. We got a business management division, which we do taxes and reconciliation. We just signed Munguia, a boxer. We have Canelo Alvarez, which is the biggest boxer in the sport. Yeah. I started the company 6 years ago with a female founder, and we got more athletes, and so I'm really happy about that. I don't really promote it a lot. I don't like get athletes, hey, come sign with us, but I'm really happy about that company. It was just something I was trying to set up after I leave. Trying to set something up after I leave and my career. So that's going really well. I got a tech company, DRIBBLE, which we have a lot of great investors. LA Times invested. The CEO of Boost Mobile invested, and I'm starting, our first tech product. My son is a partner, Gerard Artest, who is at USC at the Cinematic Art School, which is really hard to get into. Yeah,
he's a little genius.
So, we're partnering with my kids, which is great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We just started Yes Sports with another partner agency that we just started. Got a couple athletes there. And I try to partner with people because I can't do it all. So I just try to basically partner with someone. We like each other, give you some equity. You run it, I help build the team. Right. And it keeps me around the game. Yeah. It keeps me around the game. Boxing, basketball, my kids, so I've just been trying to just build a management company. For athletes, if they need it, if not, we're gonna try to continue to do our own projects and different things like that. But I'm having a good time and it keeps me home. I get to make a little income where I can stay home.
That's always good. It's good. When you can go to bed and wake up and you still making money, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. We got another company that we invested in called Buttercloth, which, we got in at about $1 million valuation. Now the company's doing $10 million revenue this year, which I'm really happy about. And, I'm just like, with basketball, if it wasn't for basketball, I do not think I would have had opportunities. Because there was a point in time in my career where things was looking down and no opportunities and the brawl, the black eye, I couldn't, and I was just like really frustrated. And, so I was really happy I'm really grateful for basketball and NBA.
No, I feel
really grateful.
I tell you what, guys, this has been an honor to sit down with my boy Metta. I got a chance to coach him in LA, and one of my favorite guys. And we would be talking during practice and after practice about Metta getting into coaching. And I still think that's something you'd be really good at, brother, because you have a lot of stuff that you can really give back to these kids. And a lot of stuff that relates to what they're going through, so I think that would really be great. But this has been another episode of Off the Dribble. We were here with my boy Metta World Peace. Metta,
thanks,
always
Coach.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
Subscribe, guys. Go on the channel. Subscribe to Off the Dribble with Byron Scott. Another episode with my guy Metta World Peace. We'll be back with another one soon.
Off the
God
Dribble.
Bless. Off the Dribble. Love y'all.